Welcome back to CBS Mornings. The White House has told all federal workers, did it just yesterday, that they have 30 days to stop using TikTok on government-issued devices. Congress approved that ban, arguing that the Chinese-owned app is a security risk. And the Biden administration is also asking big tech companies to stop using software linked to cyber attacks on critical American infrastructure. At the same time, a new report from security firm CrowdStrike tracked more than 200 cybercrime adversaries in 2022. That is its most ever. The global threat report analyzed attacks from a dozen nation states, also so-called hacktivist groups, and also organized crime. Shawn Henry is CrowdStrike's chief security officer, and he joins us now. Shawn, thank you very much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
It's an eye-opening report, and I do want to dig into it. But since the news is this 30-day warning on TikTok on government devices, I'd love to know, how big of a threat or risk is TikTok in your view?
Well, China wants to be the #1 superpower in the world, and they have been targeting U.S. technology, U.S. personal information. They've been doing electronic espionage for several decades now. TikTok is just another activity, another opportunity for them to gain access to people's information, to see what people are thinking about, to potentially influence the way people think by putting misinformation into their app. And the U.S. concerns about TikTok, and it's not just the U.S., but the broader Western world, are absolutely valid.
So you think it's wise of Congress to have approved this ban? One congressman called it like putting a spy balloon on your phone, TikTok.
Well, I think that's an interesting metaphor. Probably not so far off. It's important to understand who the adversaries are, what their objectives are, and the many different techniques they'll use to achieve their objectives. This is one of those ways.
What about TikTok on your kids' phones? Why should we care about that?
I think
TikTok on your kids' phones.
China plays the long game, and the kids, teenagers today in 10 years are going to be adults. They're going to be in universities. They're going to be working in major corporations around the country, around the world, and to collect intelligence now to potentially use long-term down the road.
That's a big long game, though, Shawn.
It's absolutely a long game, but Chinese government has been in place for many, many years. There's a lot of consistency. They have a very clear strategy. They're going to execute on that strategy to achieve their objectives.
That's a very good question, and I want to follow up on that. Moment of full transparency. I have TikTok. People told me, hey, create one. It's great for branding. My wife has it. She does things professionally. And then each of my kids, 18, 16, and 12. So when I hear that it's banned on government devices, I think there's a lot of people at home that are sitting back thinking, well, should I erase this app? Should I continue to use it? Is it a casual app just like any other social media platform? What is your answer to that?
I think it's important for everybody to understand the way social media is utilized. And when people push information onto the network, that it stays there forever. When you're looking at how is it collected, who has access, what might they be doing with that data long term, that changes the calculus. And I think that has to factor in to the type of applications that you use and the type of information that you put into those applications.
How effective has cyber attacks been on the U.S.? Because we hear cyber attacks, but we don't know what's going on behind the scenes.
Yeah, there are multiple nation states that are using this as a tool of their digital exploitation, part of their intelligence collection. They're looking to influence American citizens. They're looking to collect data about sensitive technology, military operations, but personal information about individuals as well, so that they can exploit those to, again, achieve their objectives. The targeting of critical infrastructure is absolutely serious. We're looking at communications, energy, transportation, where adversaries are trying to gain access so that they can collect and also potentially disrupt.
But they're very creative and very smart, the adversaries. I've heard you describe this as an instrument of war. What do you mean by that, an instrument of war?
Well, this is now a tool or a weapon in the arsenal of every nation state in advance of tactical military maneuvers, for example. What we saw in Ukraine, Russia, in advance of rolling tanks across the border, targeted Ukrainian critical infrastructure, things like communication, the electric power grid. They pushed misinformation out to try and cause confusion and create havoc within the Ukrainian citizenry. I think that this is now part of the playbook long term. It's something that everybody needs to consider. It's not just tactical, it's not physical, but there's this whole virtual and digital component that everybody needs to be concerned about.
Do you have a sense of what Putin's next move could be from a cyber security point of view?
I think the Russians have been very, very good about using this tool. We saw it in advance of the Ukraine attack. Going forward, I think as more tactical maneuvers, more military operations continue in the springtime, we're going to see it used more often again. Critical infrastructure, transportation, communications, logistics, supply supply chain, et cetera. By disrupting those things, it makes it much more difficult from a physical response to engage. So I think that's something we need to be concerned about.
We focus on China and Russia, but do you think it's so much bigger than that? And then I look at there was a story yesterday about the iPhone, security of the iPhone. I think, what do I need to do about that? You say this picture is so much bigger than our iPhones, and it's bigger than China and Russia, is it not?
It is.
The hacktivist groups and organized crime.
Absolutely. We have seen major companies that have been disrupted for weeks or months, parts of their operation, whole cities that have been shut down and forced to go back to pen and paper. We've seen electric power grid targeted. We've seen oil pipelines targeted, water infrastructure. Everything that we do is connected to the network. The adversaries know that. Their ability to disrupt or destroy that type of infrastructure, from an organized crime perspective, they're doing it for financial gain. From a nation-state perspective, they're collecting intelligence and causing an impact on our society. So this is not going away.
So you've scared us, Shawn, so what do we do?
I think, first of all, citizens need to be aware.
Yeah.
I've talked to lots of boards of directors, corporate executives, making sure they understand what the risk is and how do you mitigate the risk. What are the strategies you employ? From a tactical perspective, technical perspective, it's making sure you're constantly monitoring your networks, looking for indicators of anomalous behavior so you can detect and disrupt those types of behavior.
Yeah, we got to go, but during the commercial break, I want to ask you about artificial intelligence because it's been a hot topic here on the show.
Yeah, big topic as well.
Shawn Henry, thank you so much.
Thank you
Thank you very much.